Hello, everyone, and welcome to Briar Rose Cottage. Lady Rosemary, the Moonstone Grown here. And this is a widow's journal. Widow journals? Oh, I can never remember whether it's widow's journal, widow journals. But anyways, we're talking widow stuff. I was watching one of the ladies I follow who has been a widow a couple of years longer than I have, and she was talking about falling in love again. And that is such a loaded thing. But it got me thinking about memories. And I think that's an important thing when you're grieving. The grieving never ends. Some days it's just easier to deal with than in those first few years. But other days it's extremely, extremely hard. But in reviewing, just taking in what she was talking about starting another relationship and how special her relationship was. I remember how flawed mine with my hubby was, and how in some ways that was just perfect. It was just wonderful the way it was. But the memory that I'm wanting to share is one that I've discovered actually shaped how I think I was able to recognize my husband, and one that helped me break up my bad first marriage and may have helped me end the toxic relationship with the last boyfriend. And it's a memory I'm very, very grateful. There's actually two memories. And I believe in soulmates. I'm one of those people. That there are people for people. I just don't believe in the Hollywood romance novel version of soulmates. I don't think there is one great love for everybody. I think there can be multitudes of great loves for everybody if you're open to it. I also I'm in the camp that soulmates come in all shapes and sizes, and they can be family members, best friends, complete strangers. And I think in my case, two strangers, especially the one, really shaped my idea of what a person should be in someone's life on the dating front. So this is not an invitation. I'm going to say that right here, right now. I am quite happy living alone and waiting until I sort my crap out and the right for me person comes along. Because yes, I do not want to get married again. I have no desire to live with anyone, and I can no longer have children postmenopausal. And with the way I am at the moment, oh my God, I don't want children in my life. If I had adult children, or hey, whoa, no fight. See, I don't want that with another person. Okay, you two stop it. Cleo and Simon. I know some days you two just hate each other. I don't want that. But anyways, back to the thought is there's a contented and this sort of blissful spot where everything in my space is going to be because I chose it to be here. And I think that's a beautiful thing of getting older and going through life and having to deal with stuff, even if it's unpleasant and it hurts so freaking bad. And when I'm not grieving, not having a grieving moment, life is actually pretty good. My life is actually quite miserable, but I'm actually rather happy. And so I don't want to take a step from here just quite yet. But anyways, memory 1 is of a time when I was 5 years old and we were driving across Canada. That's what my parents decided was a good idea. Probably mostly my mom telling my dad this was a good idea. Let's load up the station wagon with them, her mom, 2 cats, and 3 kids. Mercury station wagon, and let's drive all across Canada. I think with mom's intent to live in Nova Scotia. But along that journey, I didn't listen to my brother, my older brother. And I probably should not have gone up that slide, but I did anyway, because I really wanted to go up that slide and slide down the big metal slide. Because back in the day, they were metal, they were plastic. And what ended up happening is I got to the top. My older brother was standing at the bottom. And he went to catch me. And he looked so tiny. And I thought if I came down this slide, I was going to slam right into him and knock him on the ground. And we were both going to get hurt. So I sent him off to go get Dad. Go get my father. And he came back, and Dad and I was already at the bottom because this very kind stranger, before there really was stranger, this was back in the 70s, so very much before stranger danger. This guy came and asked me if I needed help, and I wanted him to catch me, and I paused long enough to process in my 5-year-old brain whether or not this was actually safe or whether I should wait. And the energy felt safe. So down the slide I go, he got me, and then he left. I remember feeling very safe. I got there, my brother was so mad. My dad wasn't impressed either. The second time that I had a male person come into my life, I was like 6 years old, maybe 7. And we were at the Pacific National Exhibition in Vancouver, big fair. Big, peony, big fair. Rides and animals and shops and food, that kind of thing. And it was a car ride where it had 2 seats, and it went through and traveled through a thing. And I got upset because I was going to have to go by myself. And that felt very scary and unsafe and things like that. But it was fair that my older brother took my little sister, who would have been like 5-ish. If I was 7, she'd have been 5. But out of nowhere, this young man stands up and says, "She can come with me." And he couldn't have been any more than a couple of years older than I was. And that, to this day, I have realized that chivalrous act has shaped my brain as to how men should behave. And I think it's going to make my grieving and being alone much easier. So peace, love, and happiness, everybody.